All right, thank you very much, and welcome everybody to our final day of training. What we're going to do this afternoon is talk about one of the most critical ingredients of a successful campaign, and that's the loaned executive program. And it's one of my favorite aspects of working on the CFC because we have the opportunity to work closely with a different group of federal employees every year who bring their skill set and their passion for philanthropy to the program and put their imprint on it. And while it's something that is a huge help to the program because we have these ambassadors who are able to go out to federal agencies throughout our zones, whereas we on the team may not be able to do so. It also is something where the individuals can build or hone some of their great leadership skills. And they may find that they are very successful in some aspect they never had an opportunity to explore. So it's definitely a win-win. So today we're going to hear from three subject matter experts because you're not just going to take my word for it that the Loaned Executive Program is something spectacular. We're going to start off with Ernest Scott from the Travel Tech Global Impact Team, and he's going to talk about how we recruit and train loaned executives. And then we're going to hear from Jennifer Howard from the MP May team, and she's going to talk about the ways that the loaned executives go out and interact with the federal agencies. And then finally, we're going to have a testament from someone who did go through the loaned executive program and loved it so much, she went on to become an LFCC member. So that'll be Miss Wendy Yeldell. A lot of great information coming, so I'm just going to turn it over right now to Ernest Scott. So go ahead and take it away, Ernie.
Thanks a lot, Curtis. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm Ernest Scott. I'm the Deputy Director for the National CFC of the National Capital Area and the Chesapeake Bay Area. And first, I'm going to start off talking about the LE recruitment process and kind of the steps that we take to identify LEs and get them trained. So first thing we do as an outreach coordinator is we meet with our LFCC leadership in the springtime, typically in April or May, to determine the best time frame to begin our recruitment efforts for LEs and also CMs for the upcoming fall campaign. We craft a letter for LFCC co-chairperson's approval and signature, asking for the support of the department and agency heads for identification of an LE. And these letters are emailed directly by our OC staff to the department agency heads in Washington, typically with a copy of the letter going to the chief of staff or the executive assistant. So we really go right to the top. And also, we have the benefit of having long-term relationships with our campaign managers and folks in the DC area. So we socialize this opportunity with our what we call our CFC ambassadors. So these are folks who are former loan executives, current and former CMs, key workers, former colleagues, folks that we know through the national capital area, to let them know that the LE opportunity is available and to share this opportunity as appropriate through their professional and personal networks. And we also engage in direct follow-up with, at times, reaching out to these chief of staffs and to the human resources departments, the CHICOs, as we call them, the chief human capital officers. And also this year, we had the benefit of one of our departments posted the LE detail on usajobs.gov. So we're looking forward in future years to more departments doing this, posting the job on usajobs.gov to give us more outreach and for more folks to find out about what we're doing here. And during this whole time, we're really generating enthusiasm and excitement for the upcoming fall campaign. Once the candidates are selected, and agencies select a little differently, some agencies have a formalized selection process where folks interview and go through a rigorous kind of selection process. Other folks are volunteered, and other folks volunteer, or they are hand selected or as we say, voluntold by their management. And then once the candidate is selected, we notify them of the LE training, which typically starts on August 1st. So this year's, just like previous years, LE training is starting on the 1st, which is hard to believe, next Tuesday. So, and after that, and all I'll say too, with some, especially with some of the folks that are voluntold, they the LE experience usually exceeds their expectations. A lot of them come in not knowing what it is that we're doing. You know, we're all happy and we're saying, you know, in previous years saying, show some love, be the face of change. Some folks are like, what is going on here? But I can say more times than not, they return to their agencies really energized and ready, and even though they didn't know what the assignment was going to hold. So they really go back and energize, and many of them go back to their agencies wanting to return back to us for the following campaign. And really that is our most valuable recruitment tool, is that word of mouth through our CFC ambassadors, through folks knowing about what we do here at the CFC, what we stand for, and how it helps develop federal employees' careers. So next part that we're going to just talk about the training a little bit. So the training, which again I said starts on Tuesday, now we transitioned it to 2 weeks long, conducted virtually. And way back until 2019, it was in person and conducted over a course of just 1 week. And Liz, if you want to put up the first picture, if you have that handy, that'd be great. Thank you. So that is an outstanding class of LEs back in 2017, doing the sign language signing, show some love. Show some love. And you can see the excitement in their faces. And what we did there, you know, that's back at our office in Washington. Our team sets the tone for excellence through our outstanding service and positivity. And really the goal is for LEs to become inspired and learn how our program transforms lives through the philanthropy of federal employees, build and sharpen their skills, and have a good time while doing all this. We want the LE experience to be a very memorable, professional, and personal experience. And as part of the training, we visit charities or perform a service project. And then on the next slide is those are a bunch of LEs. There we are. We're writing letters to servicemen and servicewomen overseas, thanking them for their service. And these charity visits really are what makes it feel real. And this is why we do what we do at our regular jobs and at the CFC and in our own lives, really making our communities, country, and world a better place through our service. And part of the benefits of being an LE are the meaningful connections and relationships you forge with the federal employees that you otherwise would never have met. You know, you learn and share ideas, and most importantly, you're building these friendships that last a lifetime. And then the next slide, you'll see a fun moment with the LEs. That was the eclipse back in August 2017. So these folks had just only known each other for a couple weeks. And you know, they're all from various agencies, and one of the folks on the screen there, he actually retired from federal service and became part of OC staff. So you get folks that really buy into the CFC program, and they never want to leave. And in addition to what we do, the LEs do for philanthropy and building relationships, we want you to build upon the skills that you have and bring those back to your agency after your detail is completed. And as an LE, you brief agency leadership, you perform trainings, you strengthen public speaking skills. And on the next slide, Liz, you'll see one of our LEs there in action shortly after the LE training was completed. We really train and empower you and give you the confidence to be successful in what you do. So again, this LE's in action literally 2 weeks after training federal employees. So, and then on the next slide, I just want to show you there. That's actually me with my, I was an associate director way back in 2016, and that's at LE graduation. And that's a group of talented individuals really from diverse personal and professional backgrounds who came together to accomplish our goals. And, you know, and also, you know, as an aside, we built friendships that are lasting a lifetime. And one of the gentlemen there is on the OC staff now. And another one went on to join the LFCC back in his home state. So on the next slide, you'll see, fast forward to, you know, that's during these last couple years, during this new era, and our team really made an intentional effort to keep what we call the magic alive virtually. So back in the day there, you saw us together in person, doing lots of fun things, and we've been able to do this virtually too. And now we're trying to figure out, like everyone else, how is this going to work for us in a hybrid fashion? And then on the next slide, you'll see a couple of things that we've done. We did some fun themed days there. I think this was back in 2020 when we were really all stuck at home. You have wear your favorite hat. On the next slide, you'll see sunglasses, wear your favorite shades, doing these things that just help break up the monotony of the day. But again, at the same time, accomplishing our training goals and objectives and having some fun. So we're continuing to come up with new and creative ways to make the LE training experience memorable and meaningful for our federal employees. And through this training, we really aim to give the LEs a new or renewed sense of confidence, because they come from all different backgrounds. Like, some folks, they maybe had some issues at their agency, or some are very excited to be with us. So we just try to meet them where they are and make this experience as memorable and meaningful as possible. And I'll tell you personally, multiple LEs over the years have told me this experience was the highlight of their federal career. And that's the absolute truth. So, and then also at the, during our LE training, we're creating CFC ambassadors for life. And really, in our view, we view your service as an LE and being part of the CFC going hand in hand with your service as a federal employee. So that's all I have. And I will turn it over to Jen.
Thanks, Ernie. I was actually looking forward to seeing the lemon challenge photo. I was hoping I was going to see federal employees with lemons in their mouth. So thank you, Ernie. I agree. A couple of things that you touched on, the highlight of the career. That is something we hear time and time again with our loaned executives. Voluntold loaned executive, Ernie. Ours are typically volunteers, but I love that you've experienced that. It's one of the highlights of my career is making a volunteer out of a voluntold, because once you realize what this is and you show up and you learn about what the CFC is all about, they often, keep coming back, because as Ernie said, you make friends for life. And it's such an incredible opportunity to come together in support of the combined federal campaign and all the charities it serves. So I'm Jennifer Howard. I'm with MP May, an outreach coordinator that services 21 zones for the combined federal campaign. I do apologize for my voice today. Between the Sahara Desert dust, the heat dome on Texas, allergies, I'm struggling a little bit, so I apologize for that. I'm going to give you an overview of the LE program and the assignments that they have when they work with campaign managers. How do they, what does that look like as you campaign managers and in that role that you serve? So it's important to know that every OC, so Ernie talked a lot about how Tribal Tech operates their loan executive program, their training starting Tuesday. Our zone's training does not start on Tuesday, guys. We are a different outreach coordinator running different zones. However, a lot of our loaned executives and our coordinators are already in training. We started a program 4 years ago. It's a no-cost agency leadership program to all CFC volunteers. It's the only criteria is that you have to be a current CFC volunteer that's in line with the ECQs. It's called the Civic Advancement Employee, I'm losing it right now, ELCA, Emerging Leaders Civic Advancement Program. There it is. I apologize. So that program is happening right now. We've got a lot of volunteers that are participating in that, learning about leadership skills and all of the things that go into the ECQ. So we're super excited that they've been in training. Today we just wrapped up week 3 of 5. So from there, they will go into their training course as loaned executives and coordinators for this fall. So the loaned executives again, they all report to different outreach coordinators, whether it's SMP May, Tribal Tech. I went ahead and jumped into the chat and put a map in there that just shows you the zone map. You've seen this before, and the different contractors that service you so that you can know your OC. Download the PDF, get in contact with them to understand their program both before signing up. I know on Brandfolder, and I believe you guys have probably seen, there's a wonderful loaned executive pamphlet that talks about the program out on Brandfolder that was created by our national marketing OC. It is an exceptional document that tells you a lot about it. So do look for that. Your OC can provide that to you as well. So each OC, again, manages their program slightly different, but in large part, we're all swimming in the same lane. A benefit to serving as a loaned executive is the interagency collaboration. So when we talk about the loaned executive and how they work with the OC to support that local zone that they're located in, they are assigned essentially a portfolio of accounts that then they then service. We manage this a couple different ways. We like to understand what the loaned executives' interests are. Are they interested in working with Homeland Security agencies because maybe they're with the Forest Service? What are their interests and their passions, and ultimately work with them to assign them a portfolio that they're excited to work with. Often this portfolio is interagency across agencies in the zone, and even we have expanded our loaned executive program. We call it nationwide, even though we cover 21 zones, obviously not the entire country, but across our 21 zones, we have loaned executives specifically, for example, in our Heartland area. I know Katie Barker is here from Heartland. In our Heartland zone that she works with, that actually collaborate across Heart of the Midlands and Gateway with their assigned accounts. So there's a lot of different angles that you can take with the loaned executive program to make it successful. Another thing that we do is we create teams around an agency. So we might have an LE team or of volunteers that come together and collaborate for the VA across all 21 zones. So they're working across regions and zones. It's really a multi-pronged effort, because what we see is, one, the efficiencies that are created when we work outside of our own zone are exponential, but also the effectiveness. We're contractors, for us to come in and say, actually, ethics, CFC regulations say this. We understand you have your rules too, but here's what the CFC rules say. We're contractors. It's not our place to have that conversation. We empower our executives and ways to work together to have that conversation across lines, because if the VA or Homeland Security or HUD or whatever agency is doing something successfully in a zone and another area saying, oh, that's not allowed, having them collaborate and meet together and discuss how they're making that possible has really provided for success across our zones as the CFC transitioned between 2016 and 17 to this new model. So those are some of the benefits that come with that interagency, cross-zone, regional approach that we have, incorporated in a national or MPMA, I guess, team approach to the loaned executive program. Another thing to consider is the availability of loaned executives. In our areas, we often find that loaned executives are not available full-time. Sometimes they're only available to us part-time. And so we have to, again, meet the agency where they're at, meet the employee where they're at on what they're capable of achieving with their role as a loaned executive to ensure that they're successful. At the end of the day, the LE program must be nimble enough to ensure that both the federal employee and the CFC benefits and is successful in its campaign efforts. So it's important that loaned executives work directly with their outreach coordinators, that there's check-in opportunities, that they work together and collaborate across their assigned portfolios, and that that regular check-in really builds for success and keeping everybody connected and rowing this in the same direction, because we know there's nothing more stable than change, and we learn a lot from OPM and our colleagues as campaign unfolds. We're building the train after it left the station, and sometimes we have to pivot and reconnect and make sure that we are all rowing in the same direction, regardless of which OC you're working with. This is one campaign, the Combined Federal Campaign, that our responsibility is 100% invitation. I think a lot of people would say 100% contact. Employees have an opportunity to participate. I like to say 100% invitation. I heard that earlier today, and I thought that was really a really nice way to help all of us understand our roles, loaned executives, coordinators, volunteers, each of us, the responsibility we have to ensure that all federal employees have an opportunity to learn about the CFC and make an educated decision on whether or not they would like to participate, being invited to the program. So that's all I have, Curtis. I will turn it over to Wendy, our wonderful loaned executive, now LFCC chair down in South Central Texas. Wendy Yeldell, we're so happy to have you here to give a testimony today.
All right, great. Thanks, Jen. And thank you to Curtis and the team for inviting me. Can everyone hear me okay? If you can hear me, just kind of wave. Yes, okay, great. Now, my experiences as a loaned executive, one of the nicer parts of it is that I did it full-time in the national capital area. So that meant I was full-time away from my civilian job, my regular job. And I say civilian job because I'm retired military also. So as a as the loan executive, I was working full-time as the loan executive, and I ended up, normally you don't have your home agency assigned to you, but because of the uniqueness of my department, I work for Veterans Affairs. I was assigned also Veterans Affairs, but I had 10 other agencies that were assigned to me, federal agencies in the national capital area. So, so the plus is that for us in the NCA and in some areas, if you're able to do it full time, definitely do it. It's you're away from your agency, which is a good thing and a bad thing in some ways, because you may kind of, you may feel like as if you're missing out on things that are happening. However, you're learning so much, because with those 10 agencies, I learned from personnel who were with the FCC and FMC, whether it's on the communication side or Farmers Administration. I thought FHA, I was like, wow, things that agencies you would not normally have an opportunity to interface with, I had an opportunity to talk with their staff members. So you're working on your managerial skills as well as organizational skills, because when I got the 10 agencies, I thought I know nothing about the agencies. So it was a learning process there. And when meeting with the campaign managers for those particular agencies, the good thing is that OPM and that team, they provided all of the training for our teams. So they did the training for the campaign managers. And the only time I would step in and provide training is if, say, the campaign manager was assigned late, which happens more often than we'd like to admit. So that's part of the kind of the management aspect of it. You're kind of rolling with it. As she said, as Jen said, the train is rolling down the track and you're like, okay, let's throw some more coal in. Oh, here's another campaign manager. Is like, okay, but the campaign started a month ago, but we jump right in and we're able to do the training. And I would tell people I did, in my role as campaign manager for the VA Central Office last year, I did probably about 15 campaign coordinator trainings and trained about 120 people. So when I say that it kind of rolls off, you learn that, it may seem overwhelming right now, but after you've heard it a few times and go through the presentation, it's like, okay, you got it. And if there are any questions at all, the staff is so supportive. And I think someone mentioned yesterday Alex was doing frequently asked questions. I gave them a spreadsheet. Like, here's a spreadsheet on, here are links that you may find helpful, and everything points back to the OPM website and the OPM CFC website. So things like that really make the job easy. But it was just, to me, it was exciting. It was fun because you never knew, every day was a new day. But the bottom line is that we were able to work together to help the charities to perform their duties. So again, through many hands, a lot of things were accomplished. So you have campaign managers, you have your weekly meetings that are important to attend, and because they offer training during the weekly meetings, so that's always good. So you're not alone in the process. So again, it's a team effort there. I'm looking at my notes, trying to make sure I hit all the points, because when I start talking CFC, I do get excited. I do. And I apologize if I'm too excited, talking too fast and with my hands. Let's see. So your campaign managers, they'll have different levels of experience. So you have some that have been working with it, have worked with it for, many campaigns, and others that are new to it. And they're like, I know nothing about it. I was voluntold. And I always tell them, hey, if you were voluntold, I said, no worries, because I have been voluntold for 10 years to do CFC in my office for at the VA. I said, so no worries. We will walk you through the process. We'll help you with everything you need to know. We provide information. So when we say the information is provided, whether it's briefings that they want to provide to their leadership to make sure that you have leadership buy-in. The forms for the DAO, and this was mentioned yesterday, that's the department agency office. So you have to know which department you're in, which, and your agency and your office, and how important that is to make sure that information is tracked early, is obtained early and tracked early, because when it's time for the awards, everyone's saying, well, gee, where's our award? How much do we raise? Well, it goes back to that. So I try and make sure that they understand, all the campaign staff, they understand the importance of the laying the groundwork. Because then once the campaign starts, we're moving and shaking. Every week is a I won't say the CFC was designed by someone who had a short attention span, because every week is a different week. But that's one way to look at it. If this cause of the week does not appeal to you, guess what? Next week is a different one. So we share that, and I don't look at it as a negative, but look at it, hey, you know what? I would also send out items every week that had different memes or pictures that would relate to items that they were that may appeal to people. And if there's some slides that you can put up, I guess, with my talking points, that's fine. If not, I have them on my sheet, Liz. I'm sorry, my apologies on that. But that's where the wonderful work that the team puts in. So I would get emails saying, hey, here's the cause of the week, and here's the impact of impact of your donations and how important it is. And then I would in turn take those emails and add my piece, my bit to it to make it interesting. So if it was like puppies always appeal to people. Babies appeal to people. So I would get things like, if it's coming up on something dealing with, say disaster awareness, and just say, hey, you know what, you can show someone rescuing a puppy or rescuing a dog, and that appeals to a lot of people. And so just things like that really help to make the campaign, bring the campaign home to your staff and ones that you're working with. Let's see. The other thing I said, come on board early and stay late. And what that means basically is come on as soon as that job announcement or that detail opportunity comes up for a loan executive. The earlier you can get involved, the better. Because then you're hearing the lingo, you're understanding the terminology more and more. The more you hear it, the more you're comfortable with it. And when I say stay late and kind of see the process, because one of the things that I did as a loan executive, I stayed after the campaign ended and worked on the charity approval process, where you were reviewing the packets, the online applications, and you're looking at, as a loan executive, we were looking at what is the charity's mission, what is their financial status, looking over their tax forms and looking for certain things. And what that did for me, when I'm talking to people now about the campaign, we're telling them already that the charities are vetted, and I can say, well, I've looked at the tax forms, and if something does not appear right in the mission or their board of directors, or there are different things we're looking for, it gets kicked back. And it has to go back to the charity, and it's not an automatic rubber stamp approval, so that people are more comfortable in donating donating either their time or their money. Let's see, and sharing that information across agencies, that was one of the biggest things. I mean, we had the different contests that we were running. We had the Name That Tune, Cutest Pet Contest. And if you want to get people involved, you bring in cutest, we've heard the cutest baby contest, but have them dress up their pets and enter them in the contest. And all of a sudden you got the cutest pet contest on steroids, where everybody thinks they have the cutest pet. And that was a really big one. We also had, Name That Tune, that another agency did, Wheel of Fortune. There was a 60s TV trivia game. And these were all ideas that we shared among the loan executive team, and with our, the contract, the OPM team also shared those with us. And let's see, virtual dance party. I had a gentleman reach out to me, and he was a part of VHA Whole Health. And he DJ'd a dance party. It was 15 minutes, a 15-minute dance break once a week. And he'd reach out to me once before, but this time, I said, yes, let's go ahead and let's do something, again, to build the excitement, to pull people in, because with everyone virtual, it was really hard to maintain the momentum, so to speak. So we did the virtual dance party, and I will tell you, this DJ Papa Bear, he did a phenomenal job, because he had on the big shades. He had, the shades with the lights on it. He would have the lights going in the background, And he would just tell people, hey, get on the screen. Okay, so we're doing a Prince tribute, or we're doing Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, he would have old school, he would have country and Western, he'd have salsa, and people, they would chair dance, they would get up and you would see them dancing in their offices together. So those are just different things that we did, again, to bring excitement. Let's see, and I'll wrap up with, it's so, what's so neat about it that I really enjoy. I've even had the new campaign manager for our campaign at VA for this year. They reached out to me. I've had probably about 3 or 4 meetings with them, sharing some of the same information, because they're like, oh my gosh, it's so much. And I'm telling them it's manageable, because we've made it manageable. You build on, each year builds on the next one. And it's such a wonderful feeling to know that what we're doing, it's not often in the federal realm, in your job, that you can plan, execute, and come back and assess. So with CFC, you're able to plan events, you're able to execute those events. And then at the end of the day, you know how much was donated, you know how many hours were donated, you see the testimonials. So it was, it is such a warm feeling, and especially in the middle of the pandemic, we were doing all of this. And I will share with you that it's really hard for people to not feel it in their hearts when someone has a charity and they're telling you why they formed that charity or why they volunteer with that charity, when they're saying, well, we lost my daughter to, she died by suicide, and then we took all of that grief and that pain and we created a charity. And this is what we do now to help people before they get to that point, to help identify what some of the markers are, and reach out to people. And I will share with you, when charities were there, when they spoke from the heart, when they're able to relate to people, donations came flowing in. So again, thank you all so much. Your leadership will love you for what you're doing, because even though CFC happens every year, we still need, it's really good to remind people of the importance and their impact in it. And you have a phenomenal job to do, and I look forward to the success that you all are going to have, because I know you've got a great team behind you. So thank you again. I know I talked a lot, but I get excited when I talk CFC. So thank you all so much.
Great. Thank you, Wendy. We really appreciate that. I'm going to open it up to any questions you may have for any of our presenters about the Lund Executive Program.
Hey, Curtis, this is Lou. I don't have a question for Wendy, but I just want to thank her for taking the experience that she had with us and taking it further, and just say a few words about her. Her immersion into the program really brought just as much to us and the other LEs as she took from us. And I just want to thank her, and really the fact that she's now in the governance end of it. Kudos to you, and you're a great example to many. So thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? All right, well then I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. I want to thank our presenters today for sharing their information and their experiences with us. And this concludes our final plenary session of the 2023 CFC training. Our next session is going to be for federal employees and outreach coordinator staff only, so we are going to have to say goodbye to our charity partners. But we do want to thank each of you for being a part of this, and it really is a privilege for us to be able to work alongside you and help you guys do the incredible work that you do out there. And on behalf of the Combined Federal Campaign Foundation, I just want to thank everybody for participating in this training, whether you were in the audience or you were one of our great presenters. We're so fortunate that in the CFC universe there are so many people who are willing to share their time and talent to making the program better, and we are very lucky for that. One final reminder, we will have video recordings available on the CFC Foundation YouTube page, and we'll also be posting any of the slides or handouts on OMB Max. And I will send you all an email as soon as everything is available, which should be the next day or so. And with that, I'm going to turn over the mic to Tony DeCristofaro for the next session.
Curtis, thank you. Thanks to you and Robin and everyone who prepared this. Because over the last 2 weeks, we've certainly, from the charity session to CFC 101 to the workplace giving trends, I think you've set the tone for training. If there's one thing I would say, training doesn't end today. You know, training, the CFC campaign is going to commence on September 1st. And, you know, you're going to be hearing about more training for charities and events and zones, more, you know, as the MP May team sets up their LE training. So this is really a beginning, not an end. But, you know, we do want to take a little bit of time now to break into groups so that campaign managers, LFCCs, federal employees can do some direct interaction with the contractors that are assigned to their zones. We're lucky to have with us, you know, the team from MP May and the team from Tribal Tech, and we'll also have a couple of OPM staff people poke into those rooms in case we're needed for anything. But I want to thank everybody for, on behalf of Keith, Gwen, Vanessa, Alicia, Richard, Charlize, and I, for participating, and we'll bring it home in these last few breakout sessions. So Curtis and Elizabeth and Robin, everyone from the committee, thanks for your planning, and we look forward to a great campaign.